So as you've seen from the previous videos, there's many different ways to add clips to your primary storyline to start building a general sense of what your video is going to show. In this video, we're going to talk about B-roll, which is more secondary footage. It's not the primary story that you're telling. It's not your characters and the lines that they're giving. It's kind of secondary footage. That's what B-roll is, that supports your primary video. So in order to show this, I'm actually going to delete these clips on the timeline. I'm just going to click and drag across all of them to select them. Hit delete. I'm going to go up here in our browser and go to just my favorite clips because I've marked a couple clips here to explain this. And in this scene, we have two characters, Ralph and Simon. And what's happening is they're kind of having a little exchange here in the video. So what I'm going to do is add some clips to the project using the tools we looked at in the last videos, and then I'm going to show you how to add some B-roll. So in this little scene that I'm going to build up here, we have Ralph, who is our primary character over here. This is Ralph. And then we have Simon, who's this one in the red tie. So I'm going to drag this down onto the timeline. I'm going to hit Shift-Z to zoom to fit this portion. And what you'll notice here is that Simon kind of leans over to Ralph and puts his arm on him. Right there in the lower left corner, you can see he grabs his arm. We have Simon kind of very seriously saying a line to Ralph, and Ralph's a little bit confused, and then Simon just kind of jokingly walks away. So that's all happening in this clip here, and this is our primary footage, or our A-roll. And let's have this go through. And when we have the arm grab right here, I'm going to cut on action to that portion right there. So the way that I'm going to do that, I'm actually going to switch to a tool that we'll see a little bit more in the next video, but I'm going to switch to the blade tool using the B key. This activates the razor blade, and then I can click right on this portion of the clip to cut it. I'm going to hit the A key to switch back to the select tool. I'm going to click on this portion of the clip and delete it. And then I'm going to go up back to the browser here and notice this favorite that I have, he's got his arm grabbed there, and then he kind of lets go and slaps it and walks away. So I'm going to click and drag and add that clip in. Then if I go over to the left here, I'll hit the space bar to play this.
Distances you from people.
Yep.
And you can't keep them forever.
No.
No. Really. Just let loose and have fun.
So we have our primary storyline set here. Our A-roll is looking good. We have the two characters talking, and there's some tension in the story, but that's not important for what we're learning here. We're learning how to connect our B-roll or our secondary footage. So meanwhile, what's happening while these two characters are talking is Ralph, who's the character you're seeing here in the blue tie, Ralph has actually taken his keys out of his pocket and he's holding them. And the keys actually have some significance here in this story that we're telling, but we don't ever see them. So we can actually cut away from our primary video that's happening here to see those keys to bring attention to them. So what we're going to do is after this little arm grab happens, we're going to cut to those keys. So I'm going to go up to my browser. I have my keys here. And instead of going down and adding this clip to the primary storyline, I'm going to use this first button on the toolbar, which is going to connect this to the primary storyline. And it's going to do it at the playhead location here. So notice if I connect it, there we see our B-roll has been added. And if I play back the footage here, notice we see the footage on the primary storyline. And when it gets to the B-roll, it actually cuts to that B-roll. We can see, and we see that clip. So that's what a connected clip does. Whatever's on top is going to be what your viewers see when you export the footage. So here's that cutaway to that clip. I might actually want to shorten that, so I'll just click and drag from the end of the video there. And if I play it again, you'll notice it cuts up to the keys and then goes back down to where he puts the keys in his pocket. So that's a way you can connect and add B-roll to your timeline. Let me go ahead and delete this clip again. Another way you can do this is just by dragging that clip above the primary storyline. And you'll notice a little line allows us to connect this clip on the top to the primary storyline. And that's the way you're able to connect it. Now, you might notice how tall these clips are. Could be a little bit distracting. So this may be one of those moments where you go to your clip appearance menu and you just shrink down the height of those clips a little bit. Might make it a little bit easier to navigate. So again, don't hesitate to go back to those appearance menus and make changes as you build your project and add more clips. Another thing you can do this right now is just a connected clip. You could select this clip and use the shortcut Command G to make a secondary storyline. So now you'll notice there's this little box that goes around that clip, and that's actually a secondary storyline. If you added multiple clips into that storyline, then that secondary storyline can be grouped with multiple clips that you can move around anywhere on your timeline. What's really nice about these connected clips and the way the magnetic timeline works is because of that clip connection that's at the beginning here, if I were to move this clip, all of those connected ones go with it. So that's a way that when you have those connected clips to keep things organized on your timeline. And we'll see that in greater action when we have a bunch of clips added and more of a finalized project. But just understand that those clip connections are working to help you out there. And then the final thing I want to note about our tools here, we looked at all 4 of these tools. To summarize, the one we saw in this video was how to connect a selected clip to the primary storyline. But we also looked at how to insert a clip, which is the second one, shortcut W. We looked at how to append clips, which in my opinion is the most used one, which shortcut is E. And then our fourth one here is how to override something to the primary storyline. With any of these buttons, there is a little drop-down menu on the right side of them. And if you click on that menu, right now it's set to all, but you could select just video or just audio. And what that means, let's say I do audio only, any of these buttons that you use, it's just going to affect the audio of the selected clip. So as an example here, if I drag this down onto the timeline and drop it, notice it's just an audio clip down here. There's actually no video that came with. So that's the benefit of this little menu here. If you do want just video or just audio to come down, you can do that. But if you've accidentally selected one of these, it might be affecting all of these tools. So normally you're going to want all. You're going to want both the video and the audio to come down on your timeline. But if you want to, you can change these tools to affect just the video and just the audio.